Right. So somebody asked me to cover this, and we're actually going to cover it. I had no intention of talking about this, but enough people have basically been asking me to talk about it, so here we are. Earlier this week, and by earlier this week, I literally mean like 3, maybe 4 days ago, we got the news that Insomniac will not be developing any DLC for Spider-Man 2. And I have some feelings about it, but at the exact same time, I think that their decision not to make the DLC is justified. Here's why. So, originally, the DLC that we were supposed to get was going to be Beetle Infestation, Extreme Carnage, and then another DLC before the Spider-Verse tie-in that was going to deal with Chameleon. Here's the problem. Out of those 3 DLCs, the only one that I feel as though could be fit into a $10 DLC is Beetle Infestation, where this character basically shows up post events of Spider-Man 2 when the city's still trying to deal from the massive just symbiote infestation to deal with this new character running around and causing just genuine chaos across the board. I don't believe that Extreme Carnage fits into a $10 DLC. In my opinion, I feel as though Extreme Carnage fits more into a $40 game, kind of like Spider-Man Miles Morales, where you're completely changing the environment, introducing new concepts, introducing new powers, introducing new combat styles, introducing new events, things to do, new story beats, and I mean new heavy story beats, an actual story mode that's probably around anywhere from, I would say, 6 to 10 hours. That's what I expect from Extreme Carnage. I don't expect Extreme Carnage to be something along the lines of a Dark Walk in the City or whatever the hell the DLC from the first game was called, with like Hammerhead and Black Cat, that you can probably knock out in about maybe 2 hours if you're not trying to run around and collect everything. Carnage needs to be front and center. He has to be the main attraction for the game. He has to be the person that's driving the narrative the entire way. Where at first, heroes are going to be on their back foot. Then they get slightly adjusted. Then they're able to fight and beat that man into oblivion. Because trying to basically cram Carnage into a $10 DLC is not going to work in any way, shape, or form. Because at that point in time, you're basically just essentially copying the Venom fight. But instead of Venom being black, he's now red. He has almost the exact same powers. It's the same type of setup in regards to how you're fighting him, where you fight him on one platform, then he gets pissed and he nukes the platform with spikes, and you have to jump over to another platform. No, everything has to be completely different for a fight with Carnage. Now, I know a lot of people were basically sitting down talking about how this was because of the leaks. Yes, but also no. I don't see the leaks being the major reason as to why it was canceled. I find it that the leaks were probably something that Insomniac found to be super annoying, which was all of this internal information and essentially their roadmap, and I think a few source codes for a couple side things that they were essentially working on being leaked out into the wild. But if all of the DLCs were shaping up to be really, really good, they would release them regardless. Their decision to basically come out and say, hey, we're not doing that in any way, shape, and form. We're actually leaving that behind, and there isn't going to be any DLC, tells me that we're not getting DLC for this game, but we're getting spinoffs. So we're definitely going to probably get Spider-Man 2 Absolute Carnage, the exact same way we got Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is probably going to be like a $40 game that introduces a whole lot of new stuff for you to be able to do in this universe, and probably opens up a few new areas for you to be able to web sling through and also essentially explore. Because I don't know if anybody remembers this, before we had gotten this news, the initial leaks had basically told us what was going to be coming in that DLC, and it was essentially more of the same. And what I mean by more of the same, like I said before, instead of it being Venom being the one turning everyone into symbiotes, it was now Carnage being the one turning everyone into symbiotes. And we've done that already. It's a rehash of the story that we essentially received before. Cletus Cassidy is not the type of person to run around and turn a bunch of people across the city into symbiotes. He's the type of person to run around and just slaughter everyone, to cause as much mayhem and destruction, him being the maestro of that mayhem and destruction as absolutely possible. And for you to basically utilize him the same way in which you did Venom, I feel as though they had started development on this, and then they started to see just how similar it was to essentially the base game, and they really didn't want to have a disappointing boss battle situation like, let's say, Deathstroke in Batman Arkham Knight, where instead of fighting him on the ground, you basically fight him in a tank, because the tank was essentially the main attraction of that game. I feel as though with all the systems that were introduced, clearing of the nests, defeating the Hulks to rescue the civilians, painting everything red and just making Carnage the main bad guy, didn't work out for them. It wasn't, everything wasn't clicking. As they sat down and they probably kept trying to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, they were like, yeah, no, holy shit, we might as well just make this an entirely different spin-off game. Now, we do know that they are working on a Venom game. That was something that was in the leaks. I think that that's still in the works. Now, what type of Venom game it will be, that remains to be seen. Will it be a Venom game that's along the lines of like Eddie Brock as the main guy, where you're running around as Venom? I don't know if anybody has ever played Ultimate Spider-Man. Shout out for people who played Ultimate Spider-Man on Spider-Man on the PlayStation 2. That game was fantastic. Is it going to be a situation like that, running around as Venom? Or are you going to be giving us like Agent Venom? What are we going to get? Who knows? But there's a Venom game that's going to be definitely coming down the pipes in the future. Now, in regards to the character of the Chameleon, Chameleon is somebody that I feel as though can fall into both $10 DLC, $40 spinoff, where he has enough juice to be a $40 spinoff, but then at the exact same time, his story might not be wrapped up in a decent manner in a $10 spinoff. So if they decide to go with the $40 spinoff, I would assume that they will be wrapping up Extreme Carnage and the Chameleon both in that DLC. I don't see us getting the Beetle Infestation in any way, shape, or form. If the character does pop up, it may pop up as like a really, really small side thing that's happening in the spin-off game. Or it could be that that's the opening of the spin-off game to get you kind of used to and adjusted to the new systems and the new any type of new movement tech that they introduce in that game. But I'm not broken up about it. Um as somebody who played the original game, I don't even remember if I did a review on the channel for the original game. I feel like I did. I definitely know I streamed the entire original game when it came out. As somebody who played that, I said it when I played through the game and then we ran into Carnage the very first time. I didn't see Carnage being a DLC character or a DLC boss. I never saw him as someone that they were going to be able to fit in a $10 packaging. So them coming out and essentially saying that, yeah, no, we're not getting Carnage, that just tells me that we're definitely going to be getting a spin-off game in some way, shape, and form. And then way down the line, we still have to loop all the way back to Norman Osborn, because his story is essentially is not over, and his story is literally just beginning for him becoming Green Goblin in this universe. But yeah, not broken up about the DLC in any way, shape, or form. To be quite honest, I kind of expected this was going to happen way, 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 way back. I'm talking like months ago, when the game first had initially dropped. I was like, nah, son, no way you're cramming both of these guys or all two of these guys into a DLC spinoff. And then of course they've got like the entire Spider-Verse tie-in to Beyond the Spider-Verse that was teased in the game, that's almost and possibly just as big as both the Carnage thing and as the Chameleon thing. But we'll be able to sit down and we'll be able to see exactly what that is when it eventually comes out. But let me know what you guys think about the DLC being canceled. Comment down below. Catch you in the next one. Peace.